let me see now. What was that party dude's name? You'd think I'd remember after that goodbye bash he threw. Then again, when you're in my line of work, you get to attend so many goodbye bashes. Okay, okay. Yeah, the deluge, for example. Now, talk about plenty to drink. It wasn't Sodom or Gomorrah. It wasn't the fall of Rome. Oh, wait a minute. I know. What a bonehead. We're talking J.C. time here, A.D. Bible. And when the 1,000 years are expired, the chosen shall be lifted up to heaven, and Satan shall be loosed from his prison, and the fan shall catch up to the shit. Revelations 10:7 or something like that. Great stuff. Okay, here we go. It was 999 years, 11 months, and 30 days, give or take a few leap years, in merry old Germany, their fatherland. Where else? Their Canada fatherland is what I mean. So, Otto was the dude's name. Prince Otto. Old King Otto the Great's only son. A pious little prick, if you've ever seen one. Raised by 6 nuns, tutored by 7 priests, and tortured by endless boils. The ideal combo of nutrients for the more sinister seeds of Scripture. Oh, wouldn't you agree? I mean, young Otto dug on Revelations. By the time his voice was changing, he could quote the whole chapter by heart. The priests were just so proud. And by the time he was sprouting whiskers on his boils, he was having holy fits and seeing apocalyptic angels, visions, beasts, heavenly chariots, the whole works. The priests judged their princely pupil, ready to take the tiller and steer the ship of state through the centuries' remaining years. So they sent forth word that young Otto's visions clearly showed that he was to assume the realm's helm and become the kingdom's holy see. Well, old Otto didn't see it quite that way. He sent forth guards to bring the sanctimonious little snot-nose back in chains. He'd show him where he could stick that pillar. In the meantime, the king decided he'd pop over to the chapel and pray for his own guidance, you know what I mean? Just to cover all bets. And while he was kneeling, a dark swarm of avenging angels, 7 strong, he said, came flapping out of the shadows and hacked the imperial impediment into 7 pieces, which they bore away in 7 different directions. And so, the son of Otto the Great became known as Otto the Bloody, the scourge of blasphemers and fornicators and sorcerers. He scourged so many out of his court that pretty soon there weren't a couple dozen fornicators and sorcerers left. So, as I recall it, he decided we ought to go up on top of a nice hill and celebrate the end of the world as though we are causing it. So, he took his retinue and his cronies and his 7 priests and his pregnant wife and a great big mastiff and some horses and some chariots and stuff, and they headed up on top of one of the nearest hills. And there they waited the evening long. They partied. They danced. They swore allegiances to angels that they couldn't see. And then morning dawned, and the world had not ended after all. No. Otto was a tad peeved. His wife was complaining. The priests were praying their asses off, and yet the world hadn't come to an end. So Otto poached a priest, a real fat one, and let the other priests know that this was probably the problem, this one fat priest. So they set about it again, parading around the top of the hill, screaming like banshees, weeping and heaping ashes on their head, and getting dirt in their eyes and wet to the knees, and they passed out again. And in the morning, when the earth was still turning, the sun was still shining, and King Otto the Bloody was one pissed-off liege. Well, we'll get back to this at the end of the first act. I mainly wanted to introduce you to some of the medieval crackpots, so you'd better be able to appreciate what some of the crackpots in modern day are doing to celebrate the end of the millennium. Until then, Armageddon out of here.
Never sleep back here again, Marty.
Remember when you ran away and I got on my knees and begged you not to leave because I go berserk? Well, you left me anyhow, and then the days got worse and worse, and now you see I've gone completely out of my mind. They're coming to take me away, ha-ha, they're coming to take me away, ha-ha.
How's it look to the left there?
Clean white coats, and they're coming to take me away.
You thought it was a joke, and so you laughed. You laughed when I had said that losing you would make me flip my lid.
My lid.
Right? You know you laughed. I heard you laugh. You laughed. You laughed. But now you're gone.
Utterly mad.
They're coming to take me away.
Changing my dress.
With trees and flowers and chirping birds and basket weavers who sit and smile and twiddle their thumbs and toes, and they're coming to take me away.
I cooked your food, I cleaned your house. This is how you pay me back for all my kind, unselfish, loving deeds. Well, you just wait. They'll find you yet. And when they do, they'll put you in the ASPCA, you mangy mutt.
Well,
They're coming to take me away. They're coming to take you away.
Time, and I'll be happy to see those nice young men in their white coats. Basket weavers who sit and smile and twiddle their thumbs and toes, and they're coming to take me away.
Your stations, gentlemen, and good luck to you. Through hot soup, hot coffee, wash your back, hot grease. Hot time in the old town tonight.
If you want to stop and show some ID, and I can give you a stamp for the bar.
you on Soul Train.
You gonna put me on TV? Make me famous? Household word and all that stuff? Can't happen too soon. Dorothy! Dorothy!
I warned you she'd be hard to arouse. How those little side trips in the poppy fields.
Well, mix her a tonic then, a stimulant. Ladies of your persuasion are famous for their potions, are they not?
I think it would be kinder to simply let the poor dear go on as she is, gently dreaming her way into oblivion, like everyone else.
Kinder and gentler is not our assignment here, madam. That's for Republicans. But suit yourself. You may be squeamish about dipping into your bag of tricks, but I'm not, by thunder. Don Pardo!
Good evening.
Could you give your whiz a bit of pizzazz, please?
You want it with pepperoni?
Pizzazz, you pinhead! phantasmagoria, lights, fireworks, echo. Dorothy, it's time to wake up.
Wizard, show some restraint. Remember, this is a terrifying time, and this is just a child.
Well, this is not just a child. This is Dorothy of Oz, Wind Rider, Witch Slayer, Slapper of Lions, and Puller of Heartstrings. Dorothy, you slug-a-bed, it's time to get up.
Oh, dee man, don't bother me now. Brett will be coming any moment.
Well, what about some of that snow you used to jumpstart her out of that poppy field the other time?
Very well, but I'm not promising anything. Sprinkle, sparkle, little flake, and prick the drowsing doll awake. Sparkle, sprinkle, crystal chill.
Sprinkle already.
Oh, Brett, you wicked thing. I'm melting.
This is getting us nowhere. Look at those eyes. Mindless. She might as well be watching as the world turns. What we need here is more bombast. Are there any of those awful talk show hosts still on the premises? Leish Rimberger.
It's late. The studio looks empty. Mr. Throatslide is still on, of course.
Oh, the meteorologist.
I don't think he ever goes home, the poor soul. Always worrying over those weather charts.
Well, he should worry with his ratings. Weatherman Throat, have you been monitoring this, sir?
On all occurrences, Thor keeps his mighty eye. Be the ever sea or cloud-girdled sky.
Well, fine. Front and center, and bring your mighty tools with you. We could use a flash of that old Nordic fire if you can still get it up. There's your target.
The drowsing dog. We're best left roused, is said. And the sleeping furies best left quiet abed.
Can't we knock off on the Valhalla yodel and get down to business? Fire one in there. Can't this wait?
His mighty arm is a little sore in the joint, all this unusual weather.
Well, you're always aching someplace, but as I say, suit yourself. With your ratings, I would worry about it, but if you don't want to pitch, I know someone who will, and with a pitchfork.
Well, since you put it that way. Almighty arm, don't fail me now.
Ship fire, Toto. Hang on. Here we go again. I told you the front office would want us for the sequel sooner or later. There she goes, and where she stops, every fantasy film fan in the world gotta be up here somewhere. Toto? Come on, Toto. He's a little dog about this big, and he's brown, and he's mine. Oh! You miserable old fart. I might have known. If you've lost my dog in this whirly gig, I swear I'll scratch your saggy old balloon to tatters.
Oh, calm yourself, child. Your canine companion has not been lost, I assure you. Merely detained. He shall be arriving shortly, as self. Quite a number of other illustrious guests. Yes, indeed. We have quite an impressive lineup waiting in the wings to assist you tonight. Tell us, Stan Pardo, who do we have here in addition to her usual team of stars?
Thanks for asking, Wiz. In far out left from Graceland, Tennessee, we have...
Forget the pregame hoopla and tell me what has detained my dog.
Your baggage will be arriving on Carousel 6.
We're not talking about a piece of Samsonite. If everybody else is already waiting in the wings, then where's Toto? Look, bozo, no dog, no deal. Check the small print.
Perhaps our good nurse Glenda would be better qualified to explain to you what's happened.
Dorothy, your furry little friend will be with you in a moment. He experienced a bit of turbulence prior to arrival and needs a little extra time to adjust. He's fit as a fiddle, though.
Adjust how?
He's been, shall we say, altered.
Been altered? That's why the nurses get up. Damn you man-hating old maids in your comfortable white shoes. You've gone and nuttered the only male that ever stuck with me.
Oh, gracious, no, dear. Nothing nearly so drastic. Noble Toto's gender was not changed by the encounter.
What kind of encounter?
Perhaps you have heard of some of the bizarre anomalies that have occurred to objects that encounter each other in the eye of a cyclonic event. The soda straw through the plate glass window, for instance, the 14-inch zucchini driven into the crotch of a live oak tree.
Well, I remember reading about the soda straw in Ripley's Believe It or Not.
Yeah, the zucchini was much more impressive, but good. And do you remember when you passed through that symphony?
Sure, spun straight through, clean as an arrow. I remember. So?
What the wizard is trying to tell you, my dear, is Toto didn't make it through the string section quite so clean. But hark, that must be him now, cute and clever as ever.
Oh, Toto, darling, you're back! Oh, you Nazi fiends! Oh, you've gone and crossed Toto with the fiddle! Oh, what do you have up your sleeve for me? A sax transplant?
Dear, we are your devoted guardians, ever vigilant. We would never let serious misfortune befall you.
Ever vigilant, my ass. Where were you, guardians, all the times I crashed and burned?
Which times were those, sweetheart?
Well, plenty of times. Like when I piled up my new 57 Corvette, for instance, speedballing my way to Tijuana for my 4th abortion. Where were you then?
1957. Ah, yes, that was the year that Eisenhower had all that trouble with the Russians when they shot down our spy plane. All of the top fantasy figures of the nation were called in to spin doctor the program. There was John Foster Dulles, there was John Wayne, there was Johnny Ray. You can see that we had to go.
Okay. Then what about that Copacabana benefit for Eddie Cantor's cornea transplants? I was doing rum and Coca-Cola in this cute little samba outfit, too tight at the knees.
You did a lot of rum and coke in the late 50s, as I recall.
And right in the middle of my big finish, I fell off the stage, square into that big Brazilian drummer's trap set. My ears rang for a week. Remember that?
After that drum session you had with him later that evening, I shouldn't wonder. You took quite a pounding.
For that, you were vigilant, eh?
We were observing, yes, but we chose not to intercede. That encounter did appear to be, let's say, semi-consciously intentional.
That dude's trap set was nicely baited, I admit. But if you think I'm that same good-time Gussie, you better observe again. No more benefit gigs for this broad. I don't care if Leonard Bernstein is dying from a combination of leprosy and syph.
Mr. Bernstein has already died, child. The victim of a malady very like the one you jest about.
Well, that's too bad. But Lenny's leprosy is no skin off my behind. I'm through with benefit appearances.
This is not a benefit we're speaking of here, Dorothy.
Well, with any kind of live concerts, who needs the aggravation? All those gushy fans, all those swishy little showbiz critics with their wisecracks about how simply heart-rendering that such a famous songster should become so tragically tone-deaf. Let them try spending a night with a room full of Mardi Gras noisemakers and see how their eardrums like it. Nah, screw them and the whole showbiz business. My plan is to kick back in the beauty rest until the right script blows by. I can wait. I've got residuals and alimonies to last me till the end of time.
Out of the mouths of babes, they say.
This has nothing to do with show business, my dear.
Indeed not. Nor movies, nor benefits, nor anything of that kind.
Uh-huh. The dirty laundry dawns at last. Another famous fetch job for little Dorothy, am I right? Well, you can screw that double. Remember what I got last time, Professor? A nice ride home? Up and away in your beautiful balloon. Pooey. If you need another broomstick, go kill a witch and fetch it back yourself.
Oh, gracious, no, dear. Nothing nearly so precarious. Why, you don't have to fetch back so much as a straw. All that is needed this time is the delivery of
Was it? A message, Dorothy. Nothing more. You need to carry a message.
This time I tote instead of fetch, huh? Well, what kind of message and what's the payoff? A mile long if I know you, you old windbag.
Contraire. The merest of memorabilia. The daintiest of database demitacies. But full to overflowing with information and import.
Well, don't just stand there with your face hanging out. Spill it. What's the message and what's my payoff?
Yes, spill it. Well, you see, I, as well as others of our ilk, like the good nurse Glenda here and the weather prognosticator Mr. Throat, by virtue of our exalted positions, are privy to certain disturbing conditions that appear to be prevailing in your homeland.
Prevailing and getting worse every day.
Conditions which might possibly, perhaps, indicate Glenda?
The end, my dear, is what our wishy-washy wizard is trying to say in his willy-nilly way.
From impending bad to prevailing worse.
The end of what, you dingbats? Social Security? The passenger train? What?
The end.
I thought so. You guys must have been on that hotline to Waco. What did you hear? Those 7 harp seals from Revelations barking about the apocalypse?
In a manner of barking, yes.
And so now, you want good old Dorothy to go tripping merrily back down the yellow brick road telling the citizens, ding dong, the end is near, say your prayers and grab your rears, ding dong, the awful end is near. Just ducky.
That's not quite it, Dorothy. This is where your illustrious lineup of helpers come in. There are powerful persuaders to help you convince the people that the end may indeed be upon them, as well as illustrious luminaries to help show the way to survive it.
Then I'm supposed to go tripping from scene to scene to persuade them. Duckier still.
No, that's not quite it either, Dorothy. You're supposed to go tripping from scene to teach them what they can do about it.
Well, you know what, Professor? I can't teach anybody anything. I never even went to a real school. And all I learned from those studio tutors was to how to keep from catching anything from Mickey Rooney.
You shall have ample help in each of the acts, my dear, as I foretold you. Illustrious spiritual luminaries to help light the way to survival. I have concocted a rather miraculous solution.
I don't think I'm going for it. I don't care if you have Billy Graham, Jimi Hendrix, Pat Morrison, Jim Robinson, Pat Morrison waiting in the wings. I ain't going for it. I'm taking my cat-gutted dog, and I'm out of here. You're crazy.
Oh, to where and by what means of transportation, might I inquire?
Well, back to Kansas, of course. It may be black and white and two-dimensional, but it sure beats this morbid merry-go-round.
And your means of transportation?
Same as always. 3 little heel clicks with my magic... Oh, Christ! What happened to my ruby slippers?
I rejoice to inform you that your fabulous footwear has been acquired by the Smithsonian Institution. They now reside in one of the museum's most prestigious displays, right between Archie Bunker's padded armchair and John Dillinger's pickled privates.
Well, you could have at least replaced them with a nice pair of Nikes instead of these gnarly clodhoppers. Are you trying to make me look like some kind of Birkenstock bimbo?
Well, there's no need for us to try that, Dorothy. Those sturdy brogans that you're wearing, you'll appreciate them before this evening's course is run.
What's that?
That's the Ring Girls theme, Dorothy. She'll introduce each round, just like in a Madison Square Garden boxing match.
Well, I don't know anything about boxing or gardening either, damn it. My goodness.
You don't need to know, Dorothy. All you need to do is be there. Now, no more dawdling. Time flies like an arrow.
But you know what? Fruit lies like a banana. And that's exactly what this whole thing smells like to me, bananas. Oh, it's a doorbell. Oh, it's a flashback. Bing bong, deja vu.
Help me.
Oh, get into it, you guys. Come on. Oh, keep your shirt on. I'm not hopping as fast as I can.
Help me.
If you want some help, why don't you put your back into it? Come on. Just throw your back into it.
Thank you, my dear, thank you. Why, I would have gone rolling away like a... Dorothy? Oh, surely that can't be you.
Well, who else do you still know wearing pigtails and pinafores?
Well, you've, changed.
I've changed. Look at you in that black raincoat. You look like an anorexic flasher.
This is my robe of academic office. Along with other distinguished positions in the community, I am now headmaster, Professor Dr. Scarecrow, president of the Emerald City College of Fine Arts and Famine Management.
Well, I might be impressed if it weren't for all that crow crap on your robe of office.
No, not again. Don't get away, you troublemakers, you fatherless deadbeats. Your mama and your papa. I'm afraid you're right, Dorothy. They have no more respect for me in my high office than they did when I was up on that pole in the cornfield. All of these years and the wicked devils are still plaguing my days.
Oh, you don't think those birds came all the way across the cornfield just to plague you? Get real.
Oh,